Hi, I'm Kat, marketer turned brand storyteller.
And I'm Candace, educator turned entrepreneur.
And you're listening to
Not Nice, Clever.
We're two introverts who speak on stages around the country and work with top personal brands who also unapologetically require 24 to 48 hours of recovery time on the couch in our favorite sweats. All Netflix and no chill.
And to be clear, we're not quiet or nice. Together, we're redefining what it means to be an introvert who means business. It's time to show up and show off. Are you in?
In today's mini episode of Not Nice Clever, we are giving you full permission to stand out, to stand up, to take space, and to not feel sorry about it, apologetic about it, second guess it, overthink it. This mini is coming in hot. There's lots of spice. I cannot guarantee there's going to be anything nice, but you need to hear it. So, Candace, let's tell the people.
So this episode is inspired by my conversations with my clients in the content lab specifically, because there's a lot of fear when people begin to create content. And I'm talking about any type of content, whether this means you showing up on LinkedIn, writing blogs, or creating video content, even being in people's inboxes, sending emails.
That's a form of content too.
It's a form of content. You are sharing a message that is aligned with your brand, who you are, what you offer, and who you serve. And no matter which way you do that, I always have the same conversations with my clients, which is, but Candace, aren't people going to get tired of hearing from me? Aren't they going to get tired of seeing my face? Am I going to be annoying? And I ask them to think about any brand that you admire, any person that you admire in the online space or in a movie, like any founder you admire. Are you annoyed when you see them or are you excited? Because you're not annoyed when you see someone you like in your feed. You're excited. You stop the scroll, right? When I see my friends in the feed or people who I wish were my friends, I am stopping and I'm watching the video. I'm liking it. I'm commenting. I'm sharing it to my story. I'm happy to see them. I'm happy to hear their perspective. I'm happy to hear what's going on in their life, whether I know them in person or not. And I invite you to also approach your own content in that way. Like, what if you just decided that people were excited to hear from you, that people are excited to know what's going on in your life? They're excited to hear how you help people.
Mm-hmm.
If you just approached creating content in that way, then you would feel better about hitting send or pushing post.
Yeah. Because the reality is that the right people, the people that have values aligned with you, that appreciate your unique flavor of being you, that want to be in community with you, will never be annoyed or hit unfollow or hit mute, the soft unfollow, right?
Yes.
The wrong people will, sure, but Candace and I don't want you doing business with those type of people. They wouldn't do it even if
I'm
you
not
were
worried about
in there.
them.
Yeah, exactly. Why give energy and give attention to those folks? The right people will love it. They'll be excited. They'll be inspired. They'll want to cheer you on. So take up space, be visible. This is the whole, if you want to make an impact, which if you chose this crazy path of entrepreneurship, I imagine that you do, people need to know you exist in order for you to be able to help them.
Yes.
Branding and content is a way to get the right people who you won't have to fight to want to do business with you. They'll be begging to do business with you.
They'll be begging to do business with you. Oh, that's it. That's everything. That's exactly what we want for you. I also want to encourage the person who's listening right now who says, okay, but Kat and Candace, easy for you guys. But when I post content, people don't engage or people don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
We've all been there. I'm still there some days.
Seriously.
Okay. We've all
We don't
been there.
all hit home runs right out of the gate.
No, or every single time.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Our friend Chelsea Pites always says, love your lurkers.
Yes. I'm so glad you brought that up. I just thought of that when you were saying this.
Yep. And I think that's so funny because I can't tell you how many times people have sent me a DM and said, okay, I'm ready, Candace. Let's do this. I want to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I've looked at their name and been like, who's this person?
Right.
I've never seen them. They've never liked They've never commented. And I know people who even like my content. I know it. I know your name if you comment regularly.
Yeah.
And when I see some of these names, I'm like, this is interesting. They've not liked one thing. And I might even scroll back to just check myself. Have they liked anything? Have they
Mhm.
commented? And the answer might be no. They've never liked, they've never commented. And now they're just like, take my money.
Mhm.
And that might be what's happening for you as well. And you just don't know. You don't know if people are still consuming your content and not yet engaging. But one day, 6 months from now, a year from now, they're going to say, oh my gosh, I've been watching you. Everything that you've created sounds like it's made for me, and I am ready to do this.
Mhm.
It's happened to me so many times.
I know. And like I will get those DMs, or I'll get like emails, or I'll get text messages, and I'll go back and I'll do the same thing because I'm always like very
Where are
analytical
they
and
coming
data
from?
driven. Right,
Yeah,
exactly. I was
exactly.
like, how do I make more of this happen? Right. It's not just like a
Yes.
magic wand. How do we make
No.
more of it happen? And it happens more often than not. But the reality, or the situation we don't want you to be in, is for you to give up before you've been able to convince that person to take a chance on themselves by doing business with you. You will
Mhm.
never know what it looks like on the other side of that. And also, I think the other thing that helps me in continuing to show up is knowing that a non response doesn't mean anything about me. It's just information. It tells me that maybe that wasn't the right message at that right time. Let me say it a different way. Let me revisit it in the future, or let me try to repurpose that reel into email content or a blog on my website. Maybe that's the way that message is supposed to be out there, so that it can reach people and connect with people. But you don't stop, because otherwise, what's the point of doing it in the first place?
Yeah, I love that idea. What's the point of doing it in the first place? Because if you are creating content, the whole point is visibility. You
Hmm.
can't be afraid of taking up space, afraid of being visible and create content. Those things don't seem to make sense.
Yeah, you should pick a different business if that's true for you.
Yeah. So, our whole goal with building out your brand is for people to know, like, and trust you, and for
Mhm.
people to understand who you are, who you serve, and how you serve them. And that comes from familiarity, from
Mhm.
recognition. And how do you become familiar?
By showing up over and
It
over and
seems
over.
so simple, Kat. It
I
seems so simple.
know. Okay, this reminds me of like there was this study that they did of like college kids, and they ranked the know, like, and trust factor of all the kids in this like one specific class at the beginning of the semester. It was varying levels because maybe they had seen them in a prior class, like the year prior. Maybe
Mhm.
they had done summer session with them, maybe they went to high school with them, right? So there were like varying levels. And then they did the study at the end of the semester, and they found direct correlation of the kids who showed up the most in attendance, not even saying if they engaged in class or raised their hand. They might have been like in the back corner, like falling asleep, right? That was totally me in my morning classes in college. But the kids who showed up the most had the greatest improvement, the greatest increase in know, like, and trust factor, as surveyed by all of their other classmates.
Wow. We need to know this study. I love that. I'm using that. That's amazing.
I know you would love it, your educational background.
Yes, totally. But that's really it. And it's so funny because I just had this conversation today in the content lab as well. Is my best friend is taking the content lab. Her name's Corey. She's in Las Vegas.
Oh, I love that she's taking it.
Yeah, she's taking it. And she's already, people are asking her, like, oh my gosh, can you tell me how you're creating content? What are you doing? Like, your content's so good. And like, they're noticing the difference and they're asking her questions about it, which is the first sign that things are going well,
Hmm.
even if it's real estate agents at first.
Yeah.
And she's like, I've realized just in these last 6 weeks that it really is about showing up. And the funny thing is, prior to this experience, she was only comparing herself to the other agents she saw online,
Mm,
when in reality, she should be comparing herself to all of the agents in the Las Vegas, greater Las Vegas MLS, really, right?
right.
Because if you're just comparing yourself to the agents online who've been doing this for 5 years,
Apples and oranges.
totally different. But if you're just saying, like, hey, am I more visible than all of the other agents in my MLS or than a lot of the other agents in my MLS? It's probably hell yes. Because if
Hmm.
there, let's just do easy numbers. Let's just say there's 100 agents in your MLS, 10 of them are showing up consistently, 3 of them are doing it well.
I love those numbers. I love those
Right?
numbers.
Like, like that's just you immediately separate yourself from every other normal person in your industry. And then
Mhm.
now you are in a smaller pool of the creators of your industry. And maybe you are at the bottom of the creators of your industry, but everyone starts somewhere. Who cares?
Yeah.
You will work your way up with time and consistent intentional effort towards getting better at what you want to do. Anyways, permission to take up space. That all of that to say, permission to take up space. Attention
Permission
is currency.
granted. We love it. If you have a question or a fear or a concern that's holding you back from showing up, slide into our DMs on Instagram at Not Nice Clever. Shoot us a question. We will record you an answer.
Thanks for joining us on Not Nice, Clever.
Remember to follow our podcast wherever you listen to audio.
And if you found today's episode valuable, please share it with your friends.
No gatekeeping here. Remember, we love to see our clever crew grow.
Signing off, you're not so nice, but oh so clever besties that mean business.
See you soon.